Tim Tszyu versus Carlos Ocampo. 12 rounds in this one. Let's get into it. Let's start with Tim Tszyu. 22 wins, no losses, 16 wins by way of knockout. Tim Tszyu is at the height of his career right now, and he's got youth on his side. I'm not going to say he's in the prime of his career yet, because I think he's got a couple more years before he's in that prime Tim Tszyu. But right now, he is in the height of his career. In his last 8 fights, he stopped 6 of his opponents, and 2 of those opponents have been champions in the division or in another division. Jeff Horn, the former welterweight champion, Tony Harrison, the former WBC light middleweight champion, and the only guy who has a win over the current undisputed champion, Jermell Charlo. So Tim Tszyu, man, he's starting to put some names on his resume. But let's go back to Tim Tszyu's most recent fight, because we got to judge them based on what they look like most recently. So against Tony Harrison, man, Harrison, who was a little bit older, yes, but still a very good boxer who's got great fundamentals and a great foundation of boxing ability, who can still outbox a lot of those guys in the top 10 in that division. Maybe not the front of that top 10, but the back end of that top 10. And this was going to be a true test for Tim Tszyu, right? To see how he would handle the movements and the adjustments, right? In the first few rounds, man, Harrison was showing the boxing ability, right? Using the jab, moving his feet, countering Tim when Tim would come in and miss. But in that third round, man, Harrison got countered with the right hand that backed him up on the ropes. And that's when you could kind of see that Tony Harrison's reflexes and quickness just isn't as it once was. And you could also see that Tim Tszyu's power was going to be a problem anytime that he would connect. Every time Tim Tszyu connected on a power shot, Tony Harrison felt it. And you could see the damage, and you can see it right away. We know Tim can punch, man, but when he goes to the body, I think that's when he does his best work, right? You put that with his accuracy and his timing and the placement that he's putting those shots, man. Everything that he was doing in that fight, placement-wise, was just outstanding work. That's one thing that has always impressed me about Tim Tszyu. He might go to the head, but he might go right back to that open spot in the body. And you can hear when it does land, man. He put a beating on Tony Harrison as the fight went on, man. You know, it's like no matter the response that Tony Harrison would try to respond with, Tim Tszyu would always have something to combat what Tony Harrison was doing. Even though at the beginning he wasn't punching as much, but when he did punch, man, he was doing more damage at a greater rate as the fight went on, and it started to be just more impactful. The other thing I noticed in that fight too, man, was Tim Tszyu's poised and how controlled he was in that fight from start to finish, right? He didn't force the fight. He just took his time, kept coming forward, stayed patient, didn't get punch happy. He just took his time and let the fight come to him and took what was given to him. And when he got the momentum, that's when he could really get any shot that he really wanted, man. In that 9th round where the stoppage came in, you could see Tony Harrison's body just didn't have any more to give. And he was breathing a little bit harder and he was tired, right? Then you get him on the ropes, right? And he took a hook followed by an uppercut on the ropes that very few would have been able to stood up to and to come back and fight. And we know that Tony Harrison is a true champion with a lot of heart, but he's also not that same fighter as he once was. And credit to Tim Tszyu, because he did not play around in that fight. When the opportunity was there to get Tony Harrison out of there, he got the job done. So he's going to be looking to do more of the same this weekend in front of his home crowd. And if he can get the job done, he must have a title shot next. Let's talk about his opponent, Carlos Ocampo. 34 wins, 2 losses, and 22 wins by way of knockout. The first time I saw Ocampo fight was when he fought Errol Spence Jr., when he took that body shot in the first round, and that took him out. But since then, he's been back to his winning ways in good form, good confidence, a lot of momentum coming in, and he's won a greater portion of those fights by way of knockout. A lot of his fights have been right there in Mexico as well too, but now he's probably traveling his furthest distance, going down to Australia to try and put himself in title contention. Ocampo has good size. He likes to pressure his opponent, likes to get them to bang on the inside at him, right? He can outbox as well, but he's not trying to do all that boxing stuff too much, man. He's trying to bring pressure. He's trying to bring his physicality on you and trying to impose his will and his size and his frame on you. He's a guy that has good pop in his shots, targets the body well and the head well enough to be effective. He's kind of flat-footed, right? And doesn't move too great either, but so does Tim Tszyu, right? These two are going to be right there, right in front of each other, and that's the fight that he wants. I think that's going to be Ocampo's best bet to be able to beat Tim Tszyu, is to kind of catch him off guard and to kind of catch him with that pressure, that inside fight, and just try and bang to the body and make it a tough, grueling fight. When Ocampo fought Sebastian Fundora, he stood his ground and didn't back off the towering inferno, right? He took the fight to him and tried to force Fundora to fight a lot more on the inside. But that was one of the fights where I actually saw Fundora box on the outside a lot more, right? Because he realized, man, this guy's really trying to take it to me. Maybe I should try to use my reach a little bit more and just create a little bit of space, because Ocampo was a big body at 154, man. He's going to try to impose his size and his frame on you. And he's a good body puncher, man. This is not a guy that you can take lightly or think can't beat you, because he does have the skills, the heart, the will to be able to break you down and stand with you all the way through. All it needs is one shot for it to connect. And he landed some overhand rights that landed on Fundora's chin. Brian Mendoza landed an overhand right that also took out Sebastian Fundora. So Ocampo can land some of those similar shots from different angles to make things a little bit tough for Tim Tszyu. And not to mention, Terrell Gausha was able to drop Tim Tszyu. And I think Ocampo was a bigger puncher than Gausha, right? So I think this is going to be an exciting fight, man. And we're going to see a lot of volume in this one, man. So who wins? I like Tim Tszyu to win this one. Ocampo was tough, but I think he's a little more one-dimensional. To me, I think Tim can beat him in more than one way. This is a fight where I can see either men possibly getting dropped and scoring a knockdown or two. It has the potential to be one of those grueling, all-out war type of fights, right? And both men aren't the best defensive fighters, but I think this one is going to come down to punch placement, pressure, and consistency throughout this fight, man. And I also want to see Tim Tszyu go to the body. If Tim Tszyu goes to the body a lot more, a lot quicker, he is going to be able to slow Ocampo down and possibly even get a stoppage that way. But again, when Ocampo got dropped when he fought Errol Spence, that was at 147. At 154, once he rehydrates, he's in his 160s, maybe even 170, right? And he can take a lot more, because Fundora hit him pretty good with some shots that has stopped other people before, and he took those shots and kept coming forward, man. So I like Tim Tszyu to win this fight by decision, man. I think this fight goes all 12 rounds. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel. It will be greatly, greatly appreciated. Just started a membership on the channel. Don't always get to do all of the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below. But if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section. Shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody that donates to the channel, man. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.